In this episode, number 51, we will attempt to summarize, based on eyewitness accounts and experiencer testimony, an overview of the Greys. This means we will express studied opinion based on known and understood facts regarding motives, origins, and more. It's always a work in progress, but let's explore the Greys. Hi everyone, and welcome to Project Bluebook, where we explore all things unidentified. I am Thor, and thanks for tuning in. The objective of Project Bluebook has best been stated by its own audience, you guys, that it aims to summarize key events and persons of UFO history and draw carefully considered and fact-supported conclusions in an effort to catch up to speed in knowledge and awareness, as many of us as possible. The reason for this is a firm belief that in order for us to make breakthroughs in collective consciousness and awareness, to understand unexplained phenomena, to integrate with the real universe we live in, requires most of us to be collectively aware of its facts and be prepared. A new world awaits us, if we can take it, is a direct quote from multiple experiencer communication received by aliens. Listen to Whitley Strieber on this, directly posing the question to us, are we collectively ready as a civilization for the veil to be lifted? Look around and you may agree, I'm not so sure. But it is always my belief that we must, in order to survive ourselves into a long-lasting future, relative to our resources, our priorities, and our attitudes towards one another, we must grow up fast. A new world awaits us, if we can take it. So right here, right now, as part of our ongoing journey of preparation, let's isolate some learnings regarding the Greys. Betty and Barney Hill in the 1960s came away with very fixed answers to a question. Where are you from? Answer: the binary star system of Zeta Reticuli. Betty drew a map, and we can point to it in the sky, 39 light years away. Their abductors were the Greys, the short ones, ranging from 4 to 5 feet, normally, not completely uniform but described as clone-like, children-like, skinny bodies, large, proportionally elongated heads, large dark eyes, slither of a mouth, nose and ears, but all there, so physiologically not dissimilar when you think about it. Like us and bonobos, but the other direction. Based on their hive-like mobility and their almost exclusively emotionless telepathic communication, they've been speculated to be clones, to be artificial intelligences, self-motivated but artificial nevertheless. We don't know this, it's pure speculation, but they seem to serve a front line of duty of various kinds. As operators of UFOs, Roswell crash, New Mexico, as observers of humans, Kumburgaz, Turkey, as abductors, guards and guides of humans while transporting them to observation experiments on board mothercraft, per countless experiencer testimony, where invariably the tall Greys take over and the small Greys become bystanders. This is repeatedly observed. If they are artificial, tasked with engaging with humans because they pose no existential threat to self in doing so, it is clear either way that the tall Greys are their masters, their supervisors, who task them with many things. The tall ones, as well as the small ones, may have souls, and who can blame them risking their possibly vulnerable existence by exposing themselves to encounters with humans, to their illnesses, Earth ecobacteria, or crashes. For their own well-being, the tall Greys remain on the mothership, above Earth's atmosphere, where they are almost exclusively ever observed and encountered by experiencers. Alien sighting on Earth, when it comes to Greys, are almost exclusively delegated to the small Greys. Then there are the Greys of the Archuleta Mesa complex, the Rio Ox, who may have lived there for millennia and multiplied, having been created to perform tasks, and are now self-evolving biological entities in hiding, living underground on Earth. They live for hundreds of years, but they do not live forever. They seem to have individual will, and they are not uniform in stature, ranging from less than 4 feet to as high as 7. Their exposure to Earth's atmosphere, in particular sun rays, is dangerous, which is why they remain underground or in their ships, and is why they use black lenses to protect their eyes and augment their night vision during nighttime. Their crashed craft has been observed to have the same lens technology on their portals that enables them to view day by night. This has been observed at crash sites, including at Roswell. And according to the cuneiform tablets found, they too originated in Zeta Reticuli, only not physically, but genetically. So both origin stories are consistent, the cuneiform tablets of Rio Ox and the Betty Barney Hill encounter stories, and many other experiences accounts as well. They all agree on the Greys' origins. Only one version describes them having been here longer than we have, Homo sapiens sapiens. If true, it changes our self-proclaimed rights over them to anything earthly. They were also seen on the moon at the time of the Apollo 11 mission, lined up beyond Tranquility Base, observing every move, according to astronaut testimony. They were the Greys. Since then, we have testimony from the likes of specialist second-class Carl Wolf that there are alien bases on the moon. We have also seen pictures of JPL staff with photos showing structures on the moon by accident. So these Greys are on the moon and at Rio Ox and in flying saucers for decades observed. They abducted Betty and Barney Hill and told them they were from Zeta Reticuli and not to be afraid. According to Snyder, Colonel X and others, the Rio Ox Greys have vices. They get high on human glands consumption. A few of them, a younger generation, broke away from the original group for a while at least, to work more closely with humans and not violate abduction treaties. Whereas the original group continues frantic DNA research to perfect a future model of a hybrid being between the Greys and humans, a picture that appeared on the cover of Time magazine, possibly for conditioning reasons. We should get used to their look. They're us, and they're them, with the improved condition that can sustain their life on their home planet of Earth and its surfaces without getting fried by the sun or killed by bacteria. They are looking to change their structure to integrate better with Earth's ecology using human DNA. This work is ongoing as we speak. They have, according to our existing Rio Ox sources, had access to human DNA through agreements, which they broke many times. They have had access to human blood and tissue using abducted and captive live subjects, favoring young, healthy DNA samples, which makes me think of Missing 411 as a nighttime prone, never eyewitnessed national park disappearing act, mysteriously as possible explanations, if true. The link between permanent abductions of humans and the Missing 411 files is, for the sake of this podcast, pure speculation. David Paulides will not proclaim it. Understandably, he reports to loved ones of the continually missing. What is less of a speculation is the Greys' continued access to mammal blood and DNA tissue samples. I'm talking about cattle mutilations, through which, by way of protocol, they insist on examining the rectum of cattle for infection, as well as their mouth for genetic health, as they continue to harvest the cattle's blood for sustenance. They may also need to sustain their subjects of experimentation in captivity, as observed at Rio Ox, namely humans, with mutilated cattle blood, the perfectly and naturally pre-processed protein, nutrition. When the cattle is healthy, they always pick the healthy ones. Ask any farmer that is a victim of cattle mutilations incidents. A fact. The Greys and their UFOs exist, and they have been both voluntarily and involuntarily handed over for reverse engineering. We may have knowledge of their anti-gravity technology, and we may have trained pilots to fly those things, modified in large versions to enable humans to fly them. Just listen to Bill Uhouse's whistleblower testimony in this regard, and he's not the only one to speak of it. We haven't mastered the telepathic control board, however, in the form of a palm print yet, or so it seems. And while the interior has anti-gravity technology I couldn't begin to describe, I bet you some humans could. A technology that cancels the effect of gravity on any body inside the craft, which enables UFOs to take off stop, and reverse direction at incredible speeds, a maneuver that would crush a human body without technological protection inside these crafts. According to Bill Uhouse, with the anti-gravity technology, the body feels nothing. They just sit there stoically while the craft makes a 20G U-turn like nothing. And it's not magic, it's just technology. But crashing? That they do. It has been stated by reverse engineering whistleblowers that our most powerful radars, commonly operated by the military in and around airfields, like the one at Alamogordo, Holloman, New Mexico, these radars affect and mess up with the anti-gravity reverse electromagnetic propulsion functions of the UFO craft. They lose power and fall to the ground. Their inhabitants, at such a moment, may or may no longer be fully protected. They either survive or perish on impact, and the crafts themselves seem to withstand incredible crashes without disintegrating. It speaks to the strength of their construction and material used. This we have observed. We have been retrieving them since we began using radar technology in the 30s, and they continue to crash ever since, all across the world, to this day. Yes, they have vulnerabilities, and they can and do die. By accident and by age, just like the rest of us. They are intently interested in the recycling of souls, which opens up a whole other spectrum of topics, ranging from humans as quarantined souls that many have proclaimed, as well as the human body as an engineered vessel they can mold as their own, to alien greys not having access to the world beyond that human souls call home. This connects alien to life after death topics. Think of descriptions of abduction experiences leaving their bodies and traveling through walls, electric lines exaggerated, seeing everything from above before they enter the craft. Identical descriptions to the ones of near-death experiences before they enter the tunnel. A topic for another episode. This has been a summary on Greys, speculation, learnings. If they are this sensitive to sunlight as well as Earth's ecology, bacteria, then a subterranean moon base makes perfect sense. It's close enough to the resources, yet far enough to be safe. Sweating away in the heat beneath the Archuleta Mesa seems least ideal, but apparently there they are. As to continued R&D on humans by way of abduction, it's hard work, and it is intensely stressful as it seems urgently existential. If they've been here since the progenitors created them to serve the Anus, speculated to be the Anunnaki, they have been living here since at least 15,000 BC, and probably a lot longer, since before the great cataclysm Graham Hancock points to with Göbekli Tepe and North American geosurveillance, among other things. If true, the presence of the Greys and their possible fracturing on and off planet Earth predates human civilization by several millennia. They are as local as a frog and a dolphin, only lots smarter, yet genetically more vulnerable. You can watch and listen to this and other podcasts on Project Bluebook, where we explore all things unidentified. Each day, let's practice compassion and kindness. And please subscribe. I am Thor, and thanks for listening. See you next time.